From KUOW 94.9 Seattle, I'm Ross Reynolds. Senator Harry Reid says that BP needs to set aside $20 billion to pay for the oil spill in the Gulf. Others say it's going to cost BP a lot more than that. One is the Washington State environmental group Earth Economics. They have valued just one part of the area affected by the Gulf oil spill, the Mississippi Delta, at between $330 billion and $1.3 trillion. David Batker is executive director with Earth Economics, which is based in Tacoma. David, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Ross.
So how's the evaluation that you use different from what we're seeing from other people about the cost of this spill?
Well, their valuation is based on, I'd say, techniques from the Exxon Valdez, fisherman's year, a year of fishermen's wages lost, etc. Whereas we look at 11 ecosystem services, including damage to the wetlands. For instance, if the wetlands retreat 1 foot or 1 mile, we can calculate the damage in hurricane impact for cities like New Orleans.
So what do you think about Harry Reid saying that $20 billion is what BP needs to set aside? How does that match up to what your calculation says?
I think it's going to be a significant underestimate. The oil is still leaking. We know that we did not even look at Alabama, Mississippi, or Florida, Cuba, other areas that are going to be impacted. And also, this area, Louisiana, has the most experience in court in dealing with issues like wetlands loss and the hurricane impact on one hurricane will bring that oil in to pollute water supplies for a number of cities. There's a huge number of impacts, and there's no jurisdiction better suited in the world to deal with this than Louisiana because they have a huge history in it.
Now, your estimate of the value of the Mississippi Delta, an area, one of the areas that the damage is occurring, is between $330 billion and $1.3 trillion. It sounds like that's saying the cost could be between $1 and $4. It seems very imprecise. What's it telling us?
This is like a house appraisal or a business appraisal, just like when BP purchased Arco. Arco had kind of a high value for themselves. BP had a low value. This is still a new area, so we took the very lowest dollar values for these ecosystem services in the academic literature to establish the low value, and the highest values to establish the high value. So it's hard to argue that the value could be anywhere outside that range. It is a wide range, but it reflects still some uncertainty in the value of these ecosystem services.
Tell us a little bit about how you place a dollar value on a natural resource. Maybe give us an example.
Just like, think about Seattle Public Utilities. In the early 1900s, Seattle acquired the Cedar River watershed, and since then the forest has filtered our water for free, pretty much, with a tiny bit of maintenance. During that, if we had to replace that with a filtration plant, which most cities need, it would cost the city $250 million. So it's easy to say the filtration value of that natural system for drinking water is equal to the replacement cost of a filtration plant.
Your estimate at the high end of the impact on just the Mississippi Delta is $1.3 trillion. Have you begun to run the numbers on the cumulative impact on the natural environment in the other areas affected by this spill?
We have begun to, our team has begun to outline how that valuation could take place, because it brings in a lot more marine ecosystem services that we did not look at with this study. And, of course, the coastal area is much larger. So we've just initiated that work.
Well, we'll check back in with you when you find out what those calculations come up to be. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Ross.
David Batker, Executive Director with Earth Economics, based in Tacoma. They're using a new way of evaluating the value of natural resources, and they've applied that to just one area affected by the Gulf oil spill, the Mississippi Delta. They say the value between $330 billion and $1.3 trillion.